Hello friends, welcome to this course on NX. In this lecture, we will know about a very important concept of constraints. So constraints are restriction on the motion or movement of sketches or geometry. So in NX, we have two types of constraints, geometric constraint and dimension constraints. So whenever we draw any sketch in NX, we need to provide a restriction on the motion of that sketches, and that restriction is called the constraints. Now we have two types of constraint. One is geometric and another is dimensions. Dimensions means in the sketches when we provide any dimension. So in this lecture we will know about geometric constraints because they are related to the geometry of the sketches. Now we have three types of constraints: under constraint, over constraint and fully constrained. So now let's understand them one by one. Under constraint sketches is the one in which all the degree of freedom of each entity are not completely defined using geometry and dimension constraints. These types of constraint are displayed by light purple color. These constraints tends to change their position, dimension and size unexpectedly. So hence it is very important to convert them into fully constrained sketches. In the similar way, we have over constraint. In over constraint, we have additional constraints. So these are displayed by red color, and the perfect sketch is called fully constrained. So in these types of sketches, all the degree of freedom of the each element is equal to the constraints. These are shown by dark green color. Now let's go to NX and understand this in more depth. So I go to sketch from here, select any plane and click OK. Now I go to this rectangle and let's say I draw a center rectangle. Draw a rectangle like this and then press escape. Here I go to display sketch auto dimensions. So here we can see two dimensions. These are the auto dimensions that are automatically created by the software. Okay, so these are called weak dimensions. Automatic dimensions are called weak dimensions. And when we change them, provide them a specific value, those dimensions are called strong dimensions. So in NX, it is very important to convert all the weak dimensions into strong dimensions. Now let's see the reason why we need to convert them. Take the mouse onto the sketch and pick this line, hold down the left click of the mouse and drag it. Now we can see we can change this sketch by dragging the mouse. It means this sketch has a movement and we need to restrict this movement. So it means right now this sketch is underdefined. We can see the dimensions are displayed by light pink color. Now let's double click on any of the dimension. So let's say this line, double click here and insert some value. So let's say this value is 200, press enter. Close here. Now we can see the color of this dimension has been changed. Now this is a dark blue color. So dark blue means this is a strong dimension. So strong means movement of this dimension will not change. Now once again, let's take the mouse to this vertical line, hold down the left click of the mouse and drag the mouse. Now we can see we cannot change the horizontal dimension. Only the vertical dimension is changing. So it means that sketch is still under constraint because we can see there is a one dimension that is showing in the light pink color. So double click on this dimension and let's say I insert this value 100, press enter. Close from here. Now we can see both dimensions are strong dimension. Now pick any line, hold down the left click and try to drag it. Now we can see we cannot change it. It means that this sketch has been converted into a fully defined sketch. So all the dimensions here are strong dimensions. So let's delete this. So pick this. Okay, go to trim entity and trim all these lines. Hold down the left click and drag the line. Click close. So once again I draw one more sketch. So let's say I select profile option. I select continuous line from here and I draw a profile. So a vertical line, then continue making line like this. So I want line up to this reference. So click here and complete this sketch. Press escape. Now in this problem we can see all the dimensions are highlighting in light purple color. So it means it is under defined sketch, or we can say it is under constraint. So to check this, hold down the left click of the mouse onto any of the line and drag the mouse. Now we can see we can change this. Similarly, let's say I pick this line, hold down the left click, drag the mouse, and I can say I can change this. Okay, so that is something we need to avoid this. Now let's change the values inside this. We need to insert dimensions. So rapid dimension, or we can change this existing dimension. Okay, so let's say this value is 100. So just give all the values some definite values. So we can also make double click on them. So let's say this value is 50. So change this value to 50 and then so double click on this dimension. Let's say this value is 40 and this vertical dimension, this is 60. Press enter. And then we need to also define the dimension for this vertical line. Okay, now we can see all the dimensions here, dark blue color. It means it is a fully defined sketch. Now pick any of the line. So let's say I want to drag this line, hold down the left click, try to drag it. So by dragging this we can check whether it is fully constrained or not. So if we can't drag it, it means it is fully constrained. Now let's see what is over constraint. Now inside this sketch we can see all the dimensions are defined. Now sometimes by mistake we can define more dimensions that are required from the sketch. So let's say I go to rapid dimension, zoom in onto this line and select this line and click here. Now it is showing an error. The sketch geometry is over constraint after the last edit. Okay, so the constraint and dimension that are related to the problem are highlighted in the red color. So I click OK from here. Now it is showing the dimensions in red color. It means that sketch is over constraint. In the bottom it is also showing sketch contains over constraint sketches. So there are 3 dimensions that are creating these problems. This dimension, this and this. The reason is distance between these 2 points can be defined by 2 dimensions. So see, this dimension is specifying that this complete distance is 100 and this dimension is defining that this is 40, and so automatically this value will be 100 minus 40, that is 60. But we are forcing to change this value. So that is something the software will not accept. It cannot accept these 3 values. To have a solution for this, we need to delete any of the 3 dimensions. Okay, so I click close from here. Now I have to delete one dimension from here. These 3 dimensions are creating problem. So let's say I delete this, select this dimension and delete it. Press delete and continue. Now we can see the sketch is no longer over constrained. In the bottom it is showing sketch is fully constrained. So in this way we can convert the over defined or under defined sketches into fully defined or fully constrained sketches.